Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through some premium goalkeepers who aren't quite as expensive as these lot here and should be able to get you some really good scores throughout the season and after the August update coming in Sorare. Anyway guys, if you don't mind subscribing to the channel, that would be brilliant. Also liking and commenting on the video will be greatly appreciated, and just share it around all to your friends. But now let's get into the first goalkeeper. And that first goalie will be Peter Gashi of RB Leipzig. Now, Peter has been out for quite a long time, as you'll probably know. He was out with a cruciate ligament tear, which I'll show on screen for how many games he's missed and how long he's missed days-wise. L5 of 52, L15 of 48, and only £14 at the moment. So from what you can see, obviously through over the last year, he's only played 4 games so far, and that was a UEFA Champions League game against Young Boys, and he's just recently started the last 3 games for RB Leipzig. Now, with a contract till June 2025, you would hope he brings back some old form before the ligament tear. Yeah, not too bad scores at all. Not really a peaker from the looks of it. You look like you're more or less to hitting the 70s as opposed to the 80s, 90s, 100s. But from one time there, he looks like he had it. Now, overall, it's difficult to judge Peter, obviously, considering he has come back from a long-term injury that took him out for basically a year. But at £14 at the moment, and looks like he's got his starting spot back as well over Blaswich. It looks like he's going to be cementing his place as the first team starter from this point onwards, considering, like I said, he started the last 3 games, and one of them was also obviously the other day, midweek against Real Madrid. Now, whether or not the manager thinks Peter is better than Blaswich, obviously we don't know. If you do know, please leave it in the comments below. But as far as I'm aware, this guy should be the starter for the remainder of the season, bar obviously another injury, of course. And I doubt he can really lose his form. Who knows though, with the ligament tear, so there is a bit of risk to this one. But someone I think is really good for the price of only just under £15. But do take in mind, guys, at the moment, his cheapest in-season card is at £30 at the moment. But I don't think there's any point in buying it, in my personal opinion. And this is why I feel that way anyway, because at the end of the day, you're still allowed a classic season, which is the old season cards, not the new season cards, to play in the new upcoming in-season competitions. And I think people will be prioritising the goalkeeper slot, considering they're typically the most expensive position in Sorare. So having to buy, all in season, I think could be a bit wasteful unless there is a particular special weekly that you're trying to hit. But this is why I'm showcasing to you these sort of goalkeepers, because although they might be higher for in-season, their classic is still at, I believe, a reasonable price. And you can use them, like I said, in the classic season, and also obviously the in-season, to hopefully hit yourselves those ETH or cash money rewards. The next goalie I have here is Mark Flecken of Brentford. L5 of 45, L15 of 39. Hasn't been in the best of form recently, yes. L40 of 46, but only at £18 at the moment floor price, and doesn't put too bad scores up either. And I believe he's lower, obviously, because he's at home to Liverpool, then away to City, and away to West Ham. He doesn't have, and then he's got Chelsea, Arsenal, so he's got a really difficult run of games coming up where he's most likely not going to keep a clean sheet. So it could be as good a time as ever to really pick up someone like this. Again, just like Gashi before, not really a peak scorer, but is obviously prone to a good clean sheet every now and again with some positive AA. So I don't think someone like this is too bad of a shout either. Brentford haven't been on the best of form recently, but now that Ivan Toney is back, and they seem to be scoring goals, but just not keeping the clean sheets, which is obviously the downside to someone like Flecken at the moment. But I believe Brentford will really shore up that defence near the back end of the season, because I think they are underperforming quite badly at the moment. But so I think they deserve to be a bit higher once and where they do start playing better. But like I said, with his running games coming up, I wouldn't be surprised if that £17, £18 decides to come down to 14, 15, maybe even lower than that, because like I said, the games they have are difficult and pretty much not winnable, in my personal opinion. Even away to Burnley, Man United, Brighton and Villa, they got a really, really difficult run of games actually. Yeah, like I said, it could be a good time to pick him up. to utilise near the back end of the season, where they do have, you know, Luton and Sheffield, I believe, as well. So it could be well worth a shout. He's only 30 years old, still has a contract for, you see on screen, June 2027 as well. And I think overall he is a really good goalkeeper. And just a little added extra as well, obviously with the Euros upcoming as well, Mark Flecken, he should be the #1 goalkeeper for the Netherlands. Whether that changes or not in the next few months, I don't know. Obviously do your own research for that, but that's just extra utility that you could potentially be getting out of Mark Flecken. And my third goalkeeper is going to be Paulo Gazzaniga. It's going to be the ex-Spurs goalkeeper who currently now plays in the La Liga for Girona, who are doing phenomenally well at the moment. L5 of 56, L15 of 54, and at just £20 as well. I don't think that is bad at all. For a goalkeeper that is putting up these sort of scores right now so far this season and the back end of last, I think it's really, really solid scoring from him. Obviously lost 4-0 the other day to Real Madrid. But Girona are flying high still in second place, like I said, overperforming, doing really, really well. And they have scored a boatload of goals as well, up there with 52 goals, the same as Real Madrid. And now Girona, they have conceded 29 goals in 24. Are still not bad, but they are pretty much susceptible to conceding, as you saw before. 4-0 to Real Madrid. I saw them won 4-3 earlier on the season. Lost 3-2 here as well. So they are obviously susceptible to letting in quite a few goals. But all in all, Gazzaniga is a really solid goalkeeper, and Girona are doing really, really well at the moment. And again, like I said before, he's only about £20 at the moment, which is his classic one. But if you want his new in-season card, which hopefully you can utilise up until the update, is just under £25 at the moment. And I don't think that's too bad either if you decide to go and pick yourself up a in-season card of Gazzaniga. Now we have Georgie. I'm not going to bother pronouncing that last name. You know how I am with it. But Georgie, the under 23 till 2025 July 1st. L5 of 47, L15 of 45, L40 of 47 also. Sitting at £25 at the moment as a floor price. And in regards to his scores, like you can see here, he's hitting probably the better scores out of the goalkeepers when it comes to more of the peaks. It's really hard, obviously, for a goalkeeper to hit 90s, 100s, because it really depends on how many shots they face, you know, etc. And if they get a penalty chance to actually save. There's obviously a lot goes into it for a goalkeeper to obtain those 80s, 90s, 100s. But nonetheless, this guy's hitting 80s quite a few times so far this season. And for a team who isn't doing too well in the league at the moment. I say not doing well, but they are doing better, I think, than last season. But they are mid-table at the moment. So, you know, I just remember Valencia back in their heyday. So when I see them in 9th place, I just automatically assume they're not doing very well. Because obviously back in the day with David Villa and David Silva, for example, back in their heyday, now seeing them in 9th. But anyway, long story short, I still believe Georgie is a good goalkeeper. They have a goal difference of 0 now. They have only conceded 29 goals despite that, and being in 9th place at all. That's, you know, not too bad at all. But in the last 6 months, putting up an AA average of 7.9, I don't think is bad again at all. Hitting the 50s, 60s, quite relatively consistently, considering again where Valencia are in the table. They're not, you know, top 3, top 4 team that just choose not to concede all the time. But when he does hit the peaks, he has hit them quite well. But as you can see there are a couple reds there, the 11, the 6 and the 4, where he can have a stinker or let in 3 or more goals. But every goalie is susceptible to that, like I said earlier. But this goalie, Georgie, I don't think it's too bad at all for the £25 mark. And again, if you want a Georgie at the moment, you're going to have to pay probably an extra £5 on top of that if you're wanting the new in-season one, which to one of you guys could be worth it. But again, if you're just planning to grind the classic tournaments and competitions, then I'll probably just stick with the classic. But for the £5 extra, I don't think it's too bad to pick up the in-season card. Now, talking about overperformance from Girona before, we have here Alvaro Valz of Las Palmas, the newly promoted team from obviously last season, who are doing phenomenally well, I think, at the moment, and exceeding expectations so far, and defensively really astute and sound. L5 of 62, L15 of 61, and an L40 of 57. Not too bad at all. At £28 or just basically under 30, again, not bad at all. I don't think for a player who's putting up these sort of scores. And these are the scores I'm talking about. Like, he's getting better peaks than all the goalies I've showed before. He's getting more consistent scores than all the goalies I've shown you before as well. And for somebody who's only at basically 28, 30 pounds at the moment, I don't think it's too bad. And considering he's only 26 at the moment, I think a lot of top teams could be eyeing him out because he's a really good goalkeeper in real life as well for Las Palmas. With hitting over the last 6 months, a positive AA of 17.4 is really, really lovely when he accompanies it with a clean sheet, of course. And again, you're getting those better peaks. Again, going to be difficult, 90s to 100s. It's only once in the blue moon you really see a goalkeeper with 100 every now and again anyway. But yeah, his scores are phenomenal. Like I said, 10 AA, 13, 11, 22, 21, 35, 20. He's putting up some really, really good AA scores, even when he does concede 1 or 2 goals. But definitely one of my favourite picks in the bunch for your champion competition, both classic and in season. And yeah, for just £30 at the moment, I don't think it's bad at all. And I do have a funky feeling that he could move at the end of this season. And another crazy thing about Las Palmas as well is that they conceded the second at least amount of goals, I should say, in La Liga, up there with Real Madrid, who have conceded 15, and Las Palmas, who have conceded 20, only close by Athletic Club at 21 goals conceded in the 24 games so far. So a brilliant goalkeeper nonetheless. 26, like I said, which is also brilliant, because if you buy this guy, no matter was in rare, super rare, or unlimited, you've got him for at least, you know, another 7-8 years basically at the top level. And the scores obviously speak for themselves, don't they? Obviously, with his AA scoring, if he went to a bigger team, maybe his AA score will go down a bit because he'll probably wouldn't take as many shots or anything like that, or have to save as much. But nonetheless, he's doing really, really well at the moment. I can only see bigger things for this sort of goalkeeper. I've only watched him a couple of times on TV, obviously. But yeah, a really, really solid goalkeeper. And that's my overall take on Alvaro Valz, which will be my final goalkeeper of today. But again, guys, just before you go, if you can please hit the subscribe button and like the video, that'd be greatly appreciated. And go check out a couple of my other videos if you want to. And if you want to as well, as you can see above me, is my Twitter or X channel, which is @Sorare. So go drop that a follow as well, guys. But again, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.